Isn't it annoying to be writing a lot and feeling like what you're writing isn't awesome? That's one of the challenges of the StoryADay Made challenge, and it is actually one of the reasons the challenge exists, because it's so important for us to get comfortable with writing even when it's not feeling perfect, because most of the time that you're writing, it doesn't feel perfect. And it doesn't feel like you're writing a work of genius, and it feels like everyone else is better than you, and this is so clunky, and why is this so hard? And the StoryADay May challenge exists to make you understand that you can do that and survive, and that when you come back to the stories you've written, you'll go, oh, that's actually not that bad. So the reason I bring that up today is this is day 4 of the StoryADay May Challenge 2024. And I sat down to write this morning, and this went through my head. Exactly this. I'm like, oh, to write another story? A 4th story in 4 days? Oh, but it's not going to be any good. Oh, what's the point in this? Maybe I should just quit. And I've been doing this for 15 years. So the point is that as soon as I got writing, I started having fun. And as soon as I got writing, I remembered why I want to do this. And the difference between wanting to write and actually writing is immense. It's the wanting to write and worrying that you're not going to be good enough feels terrible. It feels uncomfortable. It invites in all kinds of other angst and self-recrimination. Sitting down and writing through the clunky stuff, especially if you've done it a few times, that you've written things and you've been like, well, that wasn't great, but I survived and I can always revise it. Once you've done that a few times, if you can get yourself actually writing, the difference in how you feel about yourself, about the world, about your neighbor who's out power washing on a lovely day is immense. I just feel so much better for having written, and actually I really enjoyed my story. And here's the other thing. The story I wrote today, I could not have written 15 years ago. I could not have written last year, because my preoccupations, my experiences have all changed. And the story that came out today was full of women all in it together, which wouldn't have been something that I would have thought of introducing to a story 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. And now it's all I can think about. How we are all stronger together, not just women, but in particular, this is a group of women, and how we can critique things without putting them down. You know, we can see the flaws, we can see the opportunities for improvement. I think I always had that. But anyway, so this story that I wrote today started off with me going, really? What's the point? I'm going to write another story that I'm not going to get to craft, that I'm not going to get to linger over. And 2 hours later, I had done the warm-up exercise that was in the brain, that was in the handbook that I put together this year. Link will be in the description here. And I went through the brainstorming exercise, and sometimes the brainstorming exercise takes 5 minutes, and sometimes, like today, the brainstorming exercise says write a list of, you know, these things, or answer one of these questions to get you thinking about what's actually going to be in your story. And the very first thing I wrote down, I was like, that's it, that's the story, that's where it's going to be set. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen, but it started to form in my head. And that was the point at which I started to think, oh, but that's such a good idea. I want to write it properly, and I don't want to have to write it in a day or a morning, and I don't want to have to give up on it and come back to something else tomorrow. And I ignored that voice, and I'm quite proud of myself, because once I got going, I started having fun with it. And the fact that I am doing the challenge and I'm trying to finish a story every day, and no matter what shape it's in, forced me to get to the end of the story, and it means that I don't have another thing hanging out there that's unfinished and needing my attention. I can come back to this story and revise it, or not. So if you're thinking, what is the point of trying to write a story a day? And if you are fighting that feeling when you sit down to write, where you're thinking, oh, well, what's the point in writing another crappy story? Write the crappy story, because some of it will be great. All of it will warm up your writing muscles for other writing that you want to do. And just honestly, the psychological difference between being in a place where you want to write but aren't writing and are worried about not being good enough, to being in a place where you wrote something today and you can tick a box and you said, that felt great, and I advanced my skills, I warmed up my writing muscles, I wrote a story that I might be able to do something with someday, and I lived up to my own expectations of myself. This feels so much better. Some of it's about the writing, some of it's about the story. A lot of it is about you living the life you're supposed to be living. That's what I have for you on day 4 of the challenge. Remind me of this in a few days when I again start thinking, oh, I don't want to write today, because I'm going to have to come back and watch this because of everything I just said. Okay, I hope you're writing. I hope things are going well for you. If you haven't jumped into the challenge yet, you can do that at StoryADay.org, and you can come over there and you can sign up and you can see all the prompts. And if you're intrigued by this handbook that I'm talking about, which has all the warm-ups and brainstorming exercises, which people are really enjoying, myself included, even though I made them up, it seems ridiculous, but I've forgotten it all at this point. So I just know from years and years of experience that getting into, with the best intentions in the world, getting into writing a story can be difficult. So I've provided these warm-ups which let you be a little introspective, and brainstorming exercises which let you take that and think about it in story terms, and then you can start writing. Today is a 40-minute story, and lots of people have cheered at the end of it saying, my 40-minute story took me 90 minutes, or, my 40-minute story got me started, and then I'm going to finish later. So it is possible to write a story in 40 minutes, but you always get to take the Story a Day suggestions and add your own spice to them. All right, keep writing, and I will see you back here tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the comments at storyaday.org and see what went on with your writing today.